The first scream didn't sound like a scream at all. It sounded like a child trying not to cry. The kind of muffled sob that comes from a small hand pressed over a trembling mouth. Daniel froze halfway through rinsing a plate, the water running warm over his fingers as he listened. Another sound followed, softer, weaker. A tiny plea, a whimper. Then silence. Silence so heavy it felt alive. He shut off the tap. It came again, a little girl's voice cracking. "Mom, I'm hungry." Daniel swallowed hard. His apartment was small and quiet, but the old walls were thin. He recognized the voice immediately. Ava, the little girl who lived next door with her mother. Emma, they had moved in 8 months ago, quiet. Gentle, always polite, always tired. They minded their own business. Too much, even. He stepped closer to the wall. Then he heard something that made his stomach twist. A whispered reply. A woman's voice, fragile, breaking. "I know, baby, I know. Please try to sleep." There was something hollow in her voice, something that made Daniel's heart pound. He pressed his ear to the wall, breath shallow. Ava whimpered again. "Mom, my stomach hurts." Emma let out a shaky breath. "I'm sorry, we'll be okay tomorrow. Just sleep, sweetheart." But there was no food cooking. No smell, no sound of plates, nothing. Daniel clenched his jaw. His instincts surged. Something was wrong, badly wrong. He paced the kitchen, restless. Should he knock? Should he mind his business? Should he call someone? He knew Emma was a private person. But hunger, a child crying from hunger. That wasn't something anyone should hide. He grabbed a container of leftover rice and chicken and walked into the hallway. The air was cold, the lights flickering. Her door looked the same as always, dull, peeling paint. Tiny scratches near the handle, as if someone once tried to force it open. He knocked gently at first. "Emma?" Silence. He knocked again, louder. "Everything okay?" Still nothing. He waited, breath tight. After a long moment, footsteps approached. Slow, dragging. The lock clicked, but the door opened only a little, just enough to reveal half of Emma's face. Her eyes were sunken, darker than he'd ever seen them. Her cheeks hollow. Her lips cracked. She looked like someone who hadn't slept in days or eaten. "What's wrong?" she whispered. "I heard." He stopped, not wanting to embarrass her. "I heard something." "Is Ava okay?" Emma blinked slowly. "She's fine." But behind her, in the dim light of the apartment, he saw Ava lying curled on a thin mattress on the floor, clutching her stomach. "You sure?" he asked. Emma swallowed, her throat trembling. "Please, we're okay. I don't want trouble." "You're not trouble," Daniel said softly. "I brought food." Her eyes widened, fear flashing across her face. "No, please don't." He frowned. "Emma, she's hungry." "We can't take anything," she whispered harshly. "Please, just go." He lifted the container slightly. "It's just food. No strings." Emma shook her head desperately. "He might see." Daniel stiffened. "Who?" She froze. But then she shut the door without answering. Daniel stared at the peeling paint, feeling helpless. Something was dangerously off. He placed the food container on the floor gently. "It's here if you need it." He didn't wait, didn't push, just walked back to his apartment, heart heavy. Minutes later, he heard the softest sound, the door opening. A quick hand grabbing the container. The door closing again. He exhaled. A tiny step. But the next morning, the empty container sat outside her door, washed spotless, dried, and placed neatly as if returning it erased the shame of needing it. Daniel picked it up and sighed. For the next 2 days he kept listening. Sometimes it was silent. Sometimes there were soft whimpers. Sometimes coughing. No laughter. No footsteps. No normal household sounds. Something was happening behind that door. On the 3rd day, he couldn't ignore it anymore. He made soup and bread and knocked again. Harder this time. It took a long time before she opened the door. "Please stop knocking," she whispered, sounding like she had no strength left. "You'll get us in trouble." "With who?" he asked. She shook her head quickly. "Please, just leave it." "Emma, this isn't pride. This is survival. We're fine." "You're not fine," he said firmly, anger rising, not at her, but at whoever had made her terrified of asking for help. "You look like you haven't eaten in days." She touched the doorframe to steady herself. He noticed her hands shaking, I'm fasting, she murmured. He blinked. Fasting why? She hesitated. Because I have no food for myself. But Ava needs to eat. A mother can survive longer. His chest tightened painfully. How long since you've eaten? She didn't answer. Emma, he whispered. You can't starve yourself. It's safer than the alternative. What alternative? She tried to close the door. Daniel put his hand out, not forcing, just gently stopping it. Let me help. You can't, she choked. No one can. If he finds out, he'll take her away. Who? She looked terrified. My husband. The word hit him like a punch. He's looking for us, she whispered. He always finds us. He watches. If he thinks I'm failing Ava, he'll take her. Daniel felt cold. Is he dangerous? Her voice broke. He never hit me. Not physically, but he controlled everything. Money, food, our lives. He kept us hungry before. It's how he punished me. He'd lock the kitchen, make me beg, make me watch Ava cry. When he realized I would starve myself to feed her. He started rationing just enough so neither of us fainted. We escaped one night. We never stopped running. Daniel felt sick. Emma, he whispered, you're safe. He's not here. You don't know him, she said. He's always somewhere. A sudden crash echoed inside her apartment, metal hitting tile. Emma flinched violently. Please go, she begged, eyes full of panic. Before he sees someone helping us. That fear was too real, too deep to question. Daniel stepped back. I'll be close. If you need anything, I can't need anything. But her voice cracked. The door closed. That night he couldn't sleep. Just after midnight, Ava's crying started again. But this time it was different. Louder, desperate, a horrible, painful cry. Then a thud. Then silence. Daniel bolted upright. He ran into the hallway and pounded on her door. Emma, open up! No answer. He tried the handle, locked. Emma, he shouted louder. Open the door. Still nothing. He stepped back, ready to kick it down. Then the door swung open suddenly and Ava stumbled out, sobbing, clutching her stomach. Help! She cried. Mommy fell. Mommy won't wake up. Daniel didn't hesitate. He rushed inside. What he saw nearly broke him. Emma was collapsed on the kitchen floor, pale as paper, breathing shallowly. Her body was curled inward. Her hair stuck to her face with sweat. Her lips were blue, her hands limp. Next to her was a pot, empty. Not a single grain of rice left except what clung to the sides. She had fainted. Starvation. Severe starvation. Daniel dropped beside her. Emma, can you hear me? Nothing. Ava knelt next to her mother, crying uncontrollably. She said she wasn't hungry. She lied. She said she'd be okay. Mommy, please wake up. Daniel swallowed the rage and fear choking him. He scooped Emma into his arms. She weighed barely anything. We need to get her help, he said. Ava shrieked, panicking. No! No hospital. They'll take me away.
What? Why?
Mommy said if they saw she wasn't eating, they'll think. She's a bad mom and they'll take me. Daniel shook his head. Ava, your mom needs help. I won't let anyone take you. I promise. But he had no idea how hard that promise would be. He carried Emma into his apartment and laid her on the couch. Ava held her mother's hand tightly, trembling. Daniel called emergency services. Minutes later, paramedics burst in. They worked quickly, attaching monitors, checking vitals, injecting fluids. As they strapped Emma onto the stretcher, her eyes fluttered open weakly. She glanced around, confused. Then she saw Ava. Then panic took over. No hospital, she begged in a hoarse whisper. Please, no. They'll take her. Emma, Daniel said softly, you fainted. You're starving. You need care. She grabbed his wrist with surprising strength. Her voice shook violently. Don't let them take Ava. He'll come. He'll say I failed. He'll take her forever. Who? Daniel whispered. But she slipped back into unconsciousness as they rolled her out of the apartment. Ava clung to Daniel, sobbing harder. Please, she begged, don't let them take my mommy. Don't let him find us. Daniel held her close. I won't, he said. But outside, the sirens screamed into the night, and he knew nothing would ever be the same again. When he stepped into her kitchen, the truth hit him harder than he expected. The cupboards were almost bare. One half-opened bag of flour, a few spices, and a single cracked bowl drying near the stove. Amal stood frozen, ashamed to move, as if any shift might expose even more of the emptiness she tried so hard to hide. Her daughter clung to her leg, still sniffling from hunger. David placed the groceries gently on the counter, but Amal shook her head, whispering, "Please, don't think I'm helpless." He looked at her, really looked, at the exhaustion in her eyes, at the pride battling the fear of failing her child. "Everyone needs help sometimes," he said softly, "but you don't have to starve to protect your pride." Her lips trembled, but she said nothing. The little girl tugged on the grocery bag with desperate excitement, and Amal finally broke, sinking into a chair as silent tears streamed down her face. David didn't speak. He simply prepared a simple meal and placed a warm plate in front of the child. Amal watched her daughter eat with the hunger of someone who had gone too long without hope. And for the first time that week, the house felt alive again.